Good morning, folks. I don't have the computer up and I haven't looked at anything to see what the date is today, but I believe it's the 18th. Yeah, it's the morning of the 18th. Oh, I get a mild headache when I say that. I'm using my older hearing aids, which sound clear on my end, but the phone is not paired up, so I'm using the microphone on the cell phone. I got some feedback recently, which I really appreciate, on the volume being too low. And that's been my fear and my concern. I'm doing this right now. There's no generator in the background, no air conditioner running. It's going to be kind of cool today, actually. Big announcement is that I've decided to bring a friend aboard and have him produce me, help me out with the business, and bring him in as a lesser partner, if you will. The fellow goes by the name D, just the letter D. That's it, and that's all I'll ever refer to him here. He is a character. He's a believer. He's a little older than I am, not that much, but a little bit older, and he's got a tremendous amount of experience as a producer and as on-air talent. He's got a great voice, a really good presentation. I like his better than my own. But I really was hoping that, one of the women that I met, we might take to liking each other and I might get some help there. But then I realized that's foolishness. John, you cannot have a woman running you or your business. It's not to sound sexist. I know it sounds sexist, but the fact is that I don't want a woman running me. I've been too traumatized earlier in my life and much of my life. And I'm at a point now where I was following the MGTOW movement, the men going their own way movement. It kind of bores me at this point. We've learned quite a bit from that. I think it's been helpful and beneficial because men always need to protect yourselves all the time. And one of the adages, if you will, given recently to me was, you don't let a woman totally into your mind or into your heart because she will undermine you. Now, psychologically, I'm aware of the concept in which, your friends will have a tendency to criticize and undermine you. And they don't even know that's what they're doing. But when it comes to women, sometimes they wait there to absolutely destroy us. And it just seems to be the way things are. I'm not saying it's just this woman or that woman. I'm saying it's the nature. And we can point to the Garden of Eden and we can point to what Eve did. And that's a problem because that's what we're fighting about today. That's how we got into this trouble. And so I decided I needed somebody that was going to direct me, advise me, and correct me. So I decided to go with a man. But not only that, I picked somebody that I know. He's older and retired, and we are going to try to turn this into a bit of a money-making enterprise. He's very talented. He's worth quite a bit, and I think I'm worth a little bit too. So what we want to do is we want to sell Bibles, and going to bring on merchandise, some T-shirts, and hopefully he'll get this volume problem straightened out with me so we can get that going. I really hope that D will take a serious interest and apply himself to this, because I believe that it'll pay off quite handsomely for both of us at this point. I think it would help him and his family. It would help me, and I'd like to say my family, but you're actually a little closer to family than anything out there now. We're a whopping 585 subscribers yesterday. We made that magic mark, and believe it or not, I watch those numbers, maybe too closely, but I look at those to see what the trends are. And I also try to see what videos people are watching more. But the problem is that YouTube gives different numbers on different formats. So I've seen on my, the page on which I manage my own channel, I've seen a single digit viewings, like 6 views, 4 views. But then on another page, I've seen like 10,000 views, and I don't know what the truth is. I don't trust this system because it's part of the beast system. It's all integrated. Everything that you see around you has been weaponized for a long time. We've been in this battle, and I know you and I, we're just dumbasses. We're stupid because we think it's a spiritual battle. It's just a spiritual battle. And of course, that doesn't matter because that's not real. It's not physical. And the fact is that it's a real battle. And Dee shares with me in the view of that. We don't see exactly eye to eye on everything, and that's okay. And you and I don't have to see eye to eye. Among our group of believers, it's okay to disagree about things. Case in point, Noah's flood. Was it worldwide or was it local? Now, I've been on both sides of that fence. I lean towards local today, but I sure was worldwide for quite a while because the Bible's true. You have to take everything literal, and I've found out over time that contextually it's a little bit different. And what it's telling us is quite a bit different than what's preached in the churches, because the evil ones they've launched all of these man-made religions, every one of them. So you're either there's just basically 2 religions according to Pastor Fanning. There's basically this biblical path, which Yeshua the Messiah called the way, and he also called it the faith of our fathers. So you got, and I like to call it Israelites. And I don't know, I mean, my friend Andy introduced me to this concept, called it biblical Christianity, and he also liked to call it Christian Israelite. He liked that quite a bit too. I, having read the Bible a little differently, I wish so much that Andy had survived and was still alive today. He was younger than I was. And somebody in the group sold him snake oil, basically. Convinced him to stop taking his blood pressure medicine after he had stroked pretty massively and recovered from it, and convinced him to stop taking his blood pressure medicine and to take oils because oils were in the Bible. Now, this is a case of evil. Now, had I, as Andy's friend, caught wind of the fact that he had stopped taking his blood pressure medicine, I'd have been all over him. Why? Because I know what can happen. I've been through it myself. And we don't play with certain of these medicines. We just can't afford to do it. And please don't get me wrong. I know that there's a price to pay when we take them, but I also know that they extend lives at times. And they would have extended Edwin Kroger's life had this witch not convinced him to get in her multi-market programming. And I was very upset about that. I wanted to get all over her. But you need to understand, we're not allowed to touch women or say anything untoward to them because they won't like it. It might offend them. And the fact is, several of us men wanted to confront this lady and tell her, hey, you killed our friend. I've talked to at least 3 men, that both, maybe 5 actually, that had the same feeling I had, the same concerns I had. You cannot stop some of these medicines without problems. The poor people on psychiatric medicines have it even worse. So, Lorraine, come down. The nails on the tile, the clicking's getting to me, and my hearing aids are really picking them up. I have 2 sets of hearing aids. The other ones pair up with the phone better, and I've used those to record better for you here. But I'm trying to keep my voice forward and upward. These hearing aids they help me much more. So, and they're the old ones. That's what gets me. I really wish that my health insurance people would stay with this brand because it's so much better. So I'm bringing D aboard. No. Down. Down. Stay. We'll see how long that lasts. I've got to work on my training. Her training. You know, her training is my training. So I'm going to take correction and direction from a man much better. And it really, I mean, I think that's going to work better. I'm not seeing any women out there that, I'm sorry, there's very little out there. There's a lot of glitter and a lot of supposed glamour and beauty, but I hate to say it, it's prostitution. And the sad thing is that women turn to the same manipulative wiles. And I think this is a problem for civilization. What did I say? Stay. This is a problem. Because every civilization which has allowed women's sexuality become unbridled. In other words, they can do whatever they want, unchecked. Every civilization in which that has happened throughout history, the recorded history we have access to anyway, according to Dr. Unwin, published in 1934. He finished writing it in 1932, but he didn't publish until 1934 because he wanted to wait 2 years because this is his life's work. And you can look this up on the internet. The PDF it's over 700 pages long. I would put it on my website. I probably will at some point so that people have immediate access to it. It's called Sex and Culture. And it boils down, and I probably will put AI on this to see, because I've never used AI, but I probably will try to use AI and ask AI, what are the basic concepts? What's this boil down to? Because according to Navy Hatto, that would be Black Pigeon. Black Pigeon Speaks on YouTube. He was the one that introduced me to that book. It took me a full year before he would tell me the name of the book. I kept after him for a year. According to him, 2 points. James Unwin discovered 2 points. I think his first name was James. First, in any society in which female sexuality became unbridled, those are his words, that genie would not go back in the bottle. You couldn't contain it again. It's the number one thing. The second thing was that in every instance, soon thereafter, not years or decades, but soon thereafter, that civilization disappeared from the face of the earth. Now, we want to apply that to America. And in case you're wondering, female sexuality, you may think, well, it just got unbridled recently. No, it was unbridled much earlier. It was more than a century ago that it became unbridled. And the crazy thing is that it became unbridled around the world. There was a movement through what I will call, there's a woman named Alexandria, and she came from Russia to America and toured the East Coast. And she did her best to pump up women's rights. And that was in about 1909, 1911. I think she toured for a couple of years. But and this is according to Eustace Mullins. And she riled up the women. And the women took umbrage to the challenges that this Russian Jewish woman, tourist, presented. And she stirred the pot. And if you look at the women's movement, it's always Jewish women who are stirring the pot. And it turns out that there's a unified work by the devil and the devil's children across the whole planet. Anyway, James Underwood published in 1934. He published before Adolf Hitler came to power in 1936. And Adolf Hitler changed things. He immediately cleaned up Berlin. And he went after pornography. And he did some book burning. And when I was a young child and throughout my entire life pretty much, the implications and the statements were that the Nazis burned Bibles in Germany, in Berlin. They had Bible burnings because they were devils. It's a big lie. They went after the books, the private library of a Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld, who was double a doctorate. He not only had an MD, the medical degree, which was the newest and latest of degrees, and it's an impoverished degree. He also had a real doctorate, a PhD. Most of you don't look at it that way because of the brainwashing. Things have been turned around a lot. Gotta try to turn